Everyone in Green Hollow used to sleep standing up. That's what the old locals said. It was a story, a joke, an Appalachian ghost tale until Dean Wallace, a freelance journalist from Pittsburgh, decided to write an exposé on the most cursed village in America. Dean was no stranger to bizarre urban legends. He'd written about haunted diners, cult towns, and crybaby bridges. But Green Hollow, something about it was different. No one had officially lived there since the 1960s, and yet satellite images showed freshly swept paths, standing scarecrows, and lights that sometimes flickered after dark. The road into Green Hollow didn't exist on modern GPS. Dean had to follow an old postal route, now just a dirt path strangled by overgrowth. A rusted mailbox with the name Albie Crowder marked the edge of the village. Past that, the air turned cold. Dead quiet. Dean expected ruins. Instead, he found cabins intact. Porches were swept clean. Tools leaned against walls, as if their owners had just gone inside. But there were no people, not a soul. And then he noticed something stranger all. The chairs were upright, tightly pushed against walls. None were ever used. He entered the old church. Pews were stacked, not arranged. The altar was bare, but above the doorway, someone had carved the words, "Lay down, never wake," and beside it, a list of 43 names, all crossed out. He stayed until dusk. That's when he saw them. Villagers, dozens of them, standing perfectly still across the field, motionless, eyes closed, all facing the same direction, toward him. No one moved. No one breathed. They stood like mannequins. But Dean's camera showed something else. Their mouths were all slightly open, whispering. Terrified, Dean fled to the edge of the village. But no matter which path he took, he always came back to the same point, the rusted mailbox. The path out was gone. The trees had shifted. Something had closed behind him. That night, he locked himself in one of the cabins and tried not to sleep. But the whispers never stopped. They grew louder, closer, and at 3:12 a.m., he looked outside to see the villagers had moved. They now stood around his cabin, still silent, watching. He opened the door, yelling for them to stop, to leave, but they didn't move. Then, one by one, their eyes opened, white, glazed. Not blind, but unseeing, as if looking inward, dreaming with their eyes wide. And all at once, they began to walk. Not toward him but past him, through him, murmuring, "Sleep with us." Dean collapsed before dawn. When he woke, it was morning, but the village was gone. Not empty gone. The church, the cabins, the paths, all erased, as if they'd never been there. He stumbled back to the nearest road days later. When authorities found him, he was incoherent, muttering about standing asleep and dreaming, with their mouths open. He was admitted to a psychiatric facility near Cincinnati. Dean never wrote the article, but someone published his notes online a year later. In one entry, he claimed the village exists only at night and only appears to those marked by the whisper. His final words: "If you hear them, sleepwalking, never answer.